Hello and welcome to Infamous MCP, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Zach, go by Nitro Zeus on Discord.
This is CJ. I also go by CJ on Discord.
I thought you were going to say I also go by Nitro Zeus on Discord.
No, I don't. That'd be funny.
That would have been.
He's going to do that
really...
for 1 week. Just be really confused.
No, even if I did anything different on Discord, it'd probably be some sort of CJ adjacent thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool Juice. I think Cool Juice would be a good one.
Curvy Jackalope is one I've used a bunch.
Curvy Jackalope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Curvy Jackalope.
Yeah. It was my Twitch handle when I was streaming for a little bit. I didn't get very big.
What about like Cross Jockey? That sounds good.
That's getting somewhere. One I had a friend suggest was Citizen's Javelin as my superhero name.
Ooh,
Nice.
That's a good one. That's a good superhero name.
Karmic Justice.
Oh,
Karmic.
with a C.
That's a K.
You
Yeah, you do with a C.
Is it?
Yeah, Karma.
Karmic is
Yeah.
a K?
Karma
I
is
thought
a
it was
K.
C.
Carvana's a
Okay.
C.
Cosmic
Cosmic
Justice.
Cosmic
Carvana
Justice? Oh, well, when I get City of Heroes re-downloaded eventually, that's what I'm making next.
Wait, dude, if you're playing City Heroes, you need to let
Not
me
in
know.
a minute. I'm currently fully committed to Final Fantasy 14. I'm
Okay. Well,
committed.
once that hellscape is
Mhm.
over,
What-
you can let me
the
know. We'll play
Weeb
the
Hell?
shit out of some City Heroes. Yeah.
Cool.
I have a super base and everything. We're good.
Yeah. So I saw on the news today something. Was there something that happened at MCP, guys? I'm not sure.
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, spoiler
Not
alert.
today.
He hasn't even asked.
A few days
me.
ago, maybe.
Oh.
He hasn't even asked about for news yet.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We got
Yeah.
it.
Yep, now we have to wait.
Scratch that.
Oh
scratch
no!
that
Well,
from
the problem is, I also that's playing is also going to be spoilers. Sorry, team.
Cut that.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into it. Parker, what's next?
It's news.
Hey,
So MCP has got some news. The big May 2025 card update
Yep.
has arrived.
The
Finally,
35 plus characters that are getting updated in May.
Oh,
yeah. Maybe not that many, but there was 17 characters plus 5 tactics cards. The 5 tactics cards, I think, just got straightened up. I don't know even if we were talking about them. I don't know if there's anything about them. Maybe you guys saw something I didn't see, but
I mean, it's your guys' call. I could be convinced either way.
Yeah.
I personally would like to speak on all of the points that we talk about.
well, the only thing I could tell is that Seven Suns, Vapors, Magnetic Crush, Mutant Trader, and Astral Ring were all just updated for like clarity, like they were just kind of worded funny or interact with rules.
Yeah, they
strangely.
just clarified or they just changed wordings to my knowledge. I think Seven Suns functionally changed, but it's a minor change.
Mutant Trader did have a small change that the
Yeah,
damage happens at the very end, and it just happens once. It's not for each individual attack that the damage adds up to Bishop. It's just at the very end. So
Seems like there's a lot of that timing, like didn't think things through very well issues with Bishop that have gotten cleaned up a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's all that happened to the tactics cards.
All right.
But we got some
So,
characters.
yeah. It looks like the other 4 are pretty much just wording changes that are
Yeah.
functionally irrelevant.
Also, when I saw them, actually, when I saw the names of all those tactics cards, I went, ooh, like maybe they did something to make them a little bit more appealing. Because these are all tactics cards that have cool flavor, and they're all close to being playable, but not quite. So maybe they just gave them kind of like, what's the Iron Man cap card that they just gave a straight up upgrade to?
Ricochet.
What if they just like kind of gave them all a Ricochet treatment, just made them all a little bit stronger? Like, nope, we just took a prepositional phrase out here, added a clause there.
Yeah.
So, but
Now that they understand better how their own like syntax works.
right. So I'm not saying it's not saying it's bad for the game, but it could have been better for gameplay, but it didn't.
I couldn't agree more because like the biggest hurdle to changing anything that's like below the power curve is just taking the challenge of, okay, well, we're going to produce these new versions of the cards, make them available for everybody. Everybody's going to print them out and, sleeve them and deal with the fact that it's been changed. Well, then why do it unless you're going to, like, I wasn't even aware, honestly, that Seven Suns or Magnetic Crush was still legal in Standard. I thought they had both cycled. The fact that you've updated... Wait, is that correct?
Oh, no, I was going to say...
You held
no,
your
you're
finger
right.
up.
I felt
Okay.
the same way about Vapors. I could have swore Vapors was... I've never even seen it play.
Yeah, like... Vapors is the only one of these four I've ever seen played to any effect, and it's mostly due to the weird-ass mechanic of the fact that it doesn't say enemy model, you can choose anyone, and it's actually a pretty good strategy to put it on your own models. It's pretty cool. I think this one actually did get a functional change. Let me double-check before I talk out my ass. Oh, but I would have to go to... because this is all going to have the new wording.
Oh, they'll have the old stuff on there,
Shit.
too. On
Where?
Jarvis.
That's what I was saying. I'm not on Jarvis. Can you check the wording on Vapors if you're already on
Yeah,
Jarvis?
give me a second.
So it says here Doctor Strange may reroll any number of the attacker's dice. I don't think it used to say that. I think it just said you may.
Specifying specifically who's doing the rerolls.
Right, because if Doctor Strange is doing it, Doctor Strange can reroll skulls. Does that work on other people's skulls or only his skulls?
It is Doctor Strange rolling the dice, so he gets to reroll the skulls and stuff, right?
Yeah, because I think this is the same logic of Venom using Oscorp.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, this character can modify and reroll skull results. And it specifically says Doctor Strange is rerolling.
Hold on, let's see here.
So if either of you guys can find...
Yeah, I've
what
got
the other one
I'm
said.
looking for like the difference between the two cards.
If you have the old version, does
see...
it have Doctor Strange in the later sentence, in the second paragraph?
Yeah, so if the token has a blank on the back, Doctor Strange may reroll a number of attackers' dice. If it has a silhouette at the
They both say Doctor
Yeah.
Strange?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What is
I just
the
never noticed that
change?
before.
Yeah, I don't see what changed.
Okay, corporate needs you to
Yeah.
find.
Yeah, this is so... I guess I'll have to pull out the freaking paper card, so maybe the paper card's different than what's all on these digital... I don't know if Jarvis changed.
The Jarvis one should be a copy of the physical card.
I can
unless
see
it's the new one.
I can see 3 different versions of it on Jarvis, and they all look perfectly identical. So I don't know if they just reprinted it through.
Oh,
just
no, they
uploaded
added
it
the
3
Doctor
times.
Strange line.
Yeah, that's what
They
I was
added
going to say.
that.
Okay. So the Jarvis is all identical.
Yeah, so
where
they-
did you find?
I
the original?
googled Vapors of Altor MCP and looked
Oh.
at it.
Oh, okay.
I found the release information when it came out.
Got it.
So, yeah, that weird. Doctor Strange rerolls the cards because he played the card. Or he rolls the dice because he played the card. So I guess he gets to use...
Yeah, and maybe that was just clarification that wasn't on the original card because they've ruled that the models that play the cards are the rollers of the dice.
Yes, that was a recent actual rules update, right?
So they just kind of put it on the card then?
Yeah.
I actually like Vapors. It's an odd card that's hard to play sometimes because, there's a lot of restrictions to playing it.
Yeah.
But it is very good.
Both of these Doctor Strange cards are just, I hate to say strange, because I think they're the only ones with that positional requirement like that.
Oh, you mean Seven Suns and Vapors? Yeah, because they're meant to be like ritual spells, and so they require help. I think Seven Suns is actively bad, but, I've never put a lot of stock into, single big attacks. More often than not, in my experience, this just means that you donate power to 3 enemy models, and then they kill you.
Yeah.
In my experience, that's how these cards work, but I understand that sometimes it works out.
Yeah, it'd be nice if, it needs, a stinger on something. It needs to do something else, right? Just doing a dice beam's fine, but,
Yeah, but with the restrictions on it, has to be on Strange's
You
turn.
have to have 2
and
people
you have
next
to
to
have 2
him.
non-dazed allies, and it costs 3 to play
so
the
you
card.
gotta summon up all 5 pieces
Yeah.
of Ultron.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't understand the point of putting these out. This could have easily just been FAQs. It is nice to have them, but I don't know. It just seems like there was more pressing things that needed to be touched.
Well, and
Yeah.
are these the only cards that needed that update?
No, surely not.
Right.
I understand they're doing it in waves, though, so I'm trying not to kill them for
Yeah,
that.
but I'm saying there's probably generic cards that have this wording problem on them too.
Yeah, I mean, Strange has been out for 3 or 4 years now. They could have done this change a long time ago.
It's almost as if nobody actually plays it enough for you to know when it doesn't work.
Yeah, like that's honestly my biggest argument. Is like we're at the point now that this isn't a helpful change. Like you're not helping anyone. Who's the number of people that play this card and didn't know that?
Yeah.
Like that's a small list of people.
Yeah. Finally, I can play Mutant Trader. Finally, and I can play it correct. Before, when I was playing it, it felt so bad because the rules weren't accurate. No, it felt bad because it's a bad card for bad things. Stop playing Mutant Trader.
Yeah.
Or Seven Suns, or Vapors, or Magnetic Crush, or Astral Ring. They're all so weak on the power curve.
I just refuse to even read Astral Ring to see what the change is. Like I just don't care enough, honestly. I can't. They either made the card unbelievably broken or completely worthless, like it already was. So I don't care.
Pretty sure it's functionally unchanged.
It's just worthless.
Exactly. So it's exactly. It's unusable. Magnetic Crush is one of the more frustrating cards in the game. I thought they actually nerfed it. Was it always size 3 or less?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, they just added the size symbols to it.
Yeah.
Is basically what they did.
And let's see if there's anything else.
Oh, and like you're gonna adjust it, but like the fact that a Helios laser does damage to the target as well. It's like, really? You could have put Helios on here. You're talking about all this, like, we're going to make abilities that are the same again. You're like, but you didn't put Helios on here, I noticed. Why not? Like,
so I just saw what they did to Magnetic Crush. All the text for the attack used to be under
in the bottom,
now
and now it's
the
up there.
attack that does it, which I'm sure.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's a reason
I
it's
like,
that way.
as somebody with minor OCD, I appreciate that they're making cards consistent, but I can't imagine there's not more cards that could have gotten this treatment at the exact same time.
I'm sure if we look at the boxes that are coming out with these, we could pick another card out and be like, well, this one could have used a touched up to be a bit more playable. It's just it's sad they missed the opportunity to touch a lot more of these tactic cards, because all of it they're already reissuing them, right?
For what?
In these boxes.
The starter boxes.
This will be in the starter box for the X-Men.
Okay.
Like, this would have been a good time to, well, we can get into it when we talk about the rest of the changes, but I feel like it's more of like a cool, thanks, guys, but, I understand your development time is very precious, but you're already wasting time on doing this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just this weird in-between of, if you're going to bother making new cards, you couldn't have taken 3 hours to just sit around a table like, hey guys, this could do a 10% bump and still be under the curve. Like, can we do something? Like, and it's like, or just get rid of them. Just cycle them if you don't like the mechanic. Like, nobody's playing these cards. Just get rid of them.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, these cards had issues. We'll print new cards that will be their spiritual successor later down the line. Like drop off and special delivery. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll just get rid of them for now because it doesn't work the way we want it to work, and no one's playing them anyway. So if you're going to go through the trouble of reprinting them and making people who already own these models buy them again in a new box, like, just fucking make new cards that aren't bad. Anyway,
do you think we would be feeling the opposite if they did make them stronger? I guess, but they are allowing us to print them off on paper, right? So that
considering they just nerfed like half the convocation list, I don't think so.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, for example, if they reprinted them and put them in a box, it'd make people feel like they have to buy the same models again that they already have to get the better version of the cards. But they've always just given it to us to print them off ourselves, so it's not like they're asking us to do that.
It's like a rules free. The rules are free for the game, which is nice.
Right. So for that reason, at first I went, well, maybe they're trying to be considerate of people who would go, I don't want to pay a lot of money for more cards. I don't want to pay model money for 5 cards. I could totally see if somebody would make that argument. At the same time, they never have ever said that. They put them online instantly. So that's not really what they're saying.
Yeah, I guess the only one I know of there's only 2 coming up right now that haven't been printed yet that exist. There's only print to plays, and that's the Mystique Deception card, and that's the instant
recovery as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I imagine Stolen Identity
will be in
box. Those will probably be in the starter box. Yeah, X-Men Brotherhood box.
All right, you guys ready to talk about characters?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. We're just going to go down the line. First is Bullseye. He was actually part of our conversation on the last cast about really strong attrition 2-pointers. The only change that he received is throwing knives are now down to range 3 from 4.
Mhm.
That's all.
I think this is a fine change.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's nice. It'll tone him down some.
He was.
Probably trying to take the extreme end of the Killy 2 thread and hone it in a little bit. But
I think the biggest
Rocket still
issue is that he just
exists,
had
so.
too many quality of life things. Like his attack was a gainer, and he had the I never miss, so he could just always deal 1. He ignored cover. I mean, he has pretty much the whole package for like a range 4 attacker for his point value. I think a lot of people underestimate parting shot. Like it's actually very good.
When he's already doing 1 damage a lot, it actually stacks up.
Yeah. Every ability on his card has value. Like everything about his kit has value. He's very good. Making him range 3 just puts him, I think, in line with what I would think a fair model is. My biggest issue is that I think he wasn't even the most egregious too. I know I'm in a minority there. I think a lot of people overvalued him, but he was, I think, too good.
I think in his.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think in his affiliations he might have been too good. Like in Shadowlands Daredevil with the reroll and the auto damage. Like he was just super consistent for a 2-threat. And I agree with you a lot too. I think 2-threats are just a problem though. Like I think there's other egregious 2-threats that still exist, and they're going to exist for a little bit because their past for the changes have gone by.
I think this is a really. I think this happens a couple times in here. This is going to be a theme I'm going to bring up a bunch. Is they're clearly paying attention to, in my opinion, like tournament appearances, like how often and how ubiquitous they are. I think Bullseye. I think your comment, Brandon, was spot on. I think he was taken a lot, partly because he was seen as high value attrition too, but also because Cabal and Criminals have been popular for a while. And so he's just showing up a whole lot. And because of that, they're like, well, is there a way that we can make him less automatically appealing to everybody? I also like it because it does differentiate him a bit from Rocket. If Rocket's supposed to be the stand there and shoot guy, and Bullseye's also the stand there and shoot guy, but Bullseye has all this other utility that Rocket doesn't have, then
you're just trading big numbers for survivability.
Right. So I think I think I like it because it just differentiates him from Rocket. That's the whole thing. I like it. All right, Zach, do you have anything else to say about Bullseye? Or are we moving on?
Nope,
all right,
good.
So let's talk about this guy. I'm so excited to talk about Doctor Strange because they did something for him that I love. But I'm excited to find out first from Brandon. I don't even want to say my piece yet because Brandon has been pushing my shit in with this character since my very second game of MCP. I consider him to be the most accomplished Doctor Strange player that I've ever seen anyway. So, Brandon, tell me how you feel about the changes to Doctor Strange. You want me to go over them real fast or you just want to roll out?
I think I'm familiar with them.
Okay.
I appreciate you saying that. That's very nice of you. I don't know if that's true anymore. I haven't played him in a while.
Well, that's the thing.
I do like me some Doctor Strange. Though.
When you played him a lot, and then no one's played him. So
you made it.
The only person I've really seen him get proper love from was Spencer from Springfield. He's the only one I ever saw gave him a fair shake after he got the first nerf. Obviously, Pierce on his builder is huge.
Yeah.
Really huge. Combined with the fact that he gets power for blocks as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do always like the balance of when they do Pierce on a non-success. Like Corvus, I think, is the only other person I've seen with it. He doesn't have Pierce, but he's got Flurry on the block. I think there's probably some others as well. But the fact that it keeps you from just getting spike nukes, where it's like, 4 hits in a wild, you're dead. I'm like, well, that doesn't Pierce in this example. I really prefer that, where it just makes your dice more consistent as opposed to more spiky. I really wish we would adopt this mechanic more in the game. Especially because he's not really a blaster. Like, he has utility stuff. Like, it makes sense for him, too. I'm not a fan of the new leadership as much as everybody else is. I really don't like that you can't change the type anymore. And I know making that free probably felt like a bit much, but man, that was a big part of why I took this. obviously not having to spend power is big, but choosing the damage type if you're doing a builder, I think often equates to about a wash on power because you're usually doing more damage because you're attacking a better type. And there's probably never been a time in the game where type of damage was more relevant than now. With all the martial artists running around and all kinds of annoying shit, I think it's really, really important that you're able to choose your damage type. And the fact that they took that away from him is really annoying to me. I don't know, it just feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back to me a little bit there. Where it's like, yeah, like he was widely considered one of like the 3 or 4 worst 5s in the entire game, and you're worried you're going to make him too strong. Like, sure, I guess. Obviously, extra hit points good, especially on a model with healing. I overall like the change. I'm not a huge fan specifically of the way they did the leadership, but it's probably better than it used to be, just on like pure value because it's free, obviously. But I would have preferred to, I don't know, keep the damage change even if it costs the power, honestly. Just give them a dual leadership like the all the other, like there's like 4 characters with dual leaderships. Just give them both. Once per turn hex and once per turn change damage type. And just make the damage type cost power.
Yeah, I agree. I think the changing damage type was pretty important. And I think for me, the immediate comparison I had was to Elsa, where it's like, oh, you pay 1, you get to root for free. You have these 3 different choices. So Hex is super impactful. I'll spoil CJ and I just finished a game where he played Doctor Strange, and the Hex was really annoying and happened probably more than I thought. But I think it's just being reliant on the damage. It feels like it's going to backfire more. Where you're like, I really need this Hex to go through. Oh, I also didn't do damage. Okay, this
well, to be
nothing.
fair, the Hex
and getting to change the damage would have been nice.
The Hex only went through on damage before, but since you got to choose the damage type, damage went through more often.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like that it's automatic against 5. Obviously,
that's
yeah. I was playing Magneto,
that's
and that
probably
sucked,
why they took the damage choosing off. I think. I think you should still be able to choose your damage type, just because that effect doesn't exist in the game as a leadership, and we see it all over the place already. And I think it would have been cool, especially with the Defenders
there's
roster.
A bunch of characters that do
there's
it.
a lot of really cool, like the Defenders roster with that power is really cool. That's one of the things that drew me to Defenders initially.
Have any of you played Strange as a leader for any extended period of time?
That was one of the second or third leaderships I ever played in the game was his, because I thought it was really cool.
Okay. It is cool, but I mean, if you played it for more than like 2 or 3 games, hexing people was never a problem.
No.
Like, if you wanted to hex them, they were hexed. Like, that's just how the game worked. But you also had this huge mechanic of you can't bring, what's her face? Like Psylocke against me. You can't bring Spider-Woman. You can't bring, list of characters that have specific strength versus X. It's like, it's not a thing.
This is a Red Skull 2 buff. Because you could,
sure.
I mean, because like
for all those Red Skull versus Doctor Strange games.
Well, but I think Red Skull 2 is still. I think it's crazy to me that he's not played more. But my favorite thing to do ever is just because his damage changing thing is like one of the more relevant reasons why I think the Defenders leadership was good, right? Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. Like, oh hey,
it was definitely the more important of the 2 effects.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they took away the better effect and made the other effect less costly, but it was the worst effect, so who cares?
Yeah, the leadership is neat. The power saving thing might be better in today's scenario games. I don't know. But the other 2 chain things we missed too that I think are hugely relevant on his card are he adds for dodge dice now on his defense buff, which is cool. And Eye of Agamotto rerolls dodges, which he didn't before. So I think...
Correct.
Besides the leadership, I think this is a really interesting buff, which I didn't see coming. I don't think anyone saw. I knew the leadership might have been reworked, but I didn't think he was going to get these many changes.
I think he was in the same category as Cable, where he was like, kind of forgotten to time.
Yeah.
And nobody really played anymore, and a new splash would have been nice. Mm-hmm. Cable clearly won the 2 buff changes, because Cable got a noticeably better leadership and a way better primary attack. And that was basically it.
And that's all he needed to kind of take him above. And I think these changes...
Yeah, no, that was huge.
I think these are. I mean, the dodge thing I think is going to be huge for him. Just like if that could have been his only change, maybe I would have been like, oh shit, that's crazy. Because like usually what you do is like, okay, well I'm going to physically attack him and he can't reroll dodges, so I'm going to throw shit at him. Well, he does now. So
I've probably played 200 games with a Doctor Strange on the table, and let me tell you, re-rolling 3 defense dice is very frustrating when you're like, oh look, 0 blocks, re-roll into 1 block. I guess I take 4, and you're like, this is fun.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's just I haven't played him as much. I did just knock out 2 games with him today because of the changes. I was super interested to get him on the table, and I look forward to seeing people see how far they can take him now. So I think he was good before because I used to get I've been absolutely destroyed by him before, and now he's better. So I'm kind of like I do agree with you, Brandon. I think the leadership is kind of the weirdest like hit miss thing they've done on the card. So
yeah, because obviously everything else they change is just objectively better because it just is. There's no question. The Pierce is huge. The dodge is really nice. Like it's more than a nothing buff. That is a relevant change. Then the reroll dodges is, I would say, even more of a relevant change. The fact that he can just now be roll 5 reroll, like that means that he is consistently blocking 1 or 2 on every defense roll, basically. That is very relevant to a model like this, especially when all of a sudden rolling blocks are refunding your power for it. That's very nice. And I'm just sitting here looking at it, and at first I was like, oh, it's too bad they got rid of the damage type change. And then I'm like, yeah, but it's free now. That's so great. And then I just keep flip-flopping on it where it's like, yeah, it's free versus, oh, but I lost the thing. The more I think about it, I was like, what's a worse leadership on a 5-point model?
I'm trying to think of
Is there anything even comparable?
Claw?
No, Claw's better. Claw's better than this.
No, absolutely not.
Claw doesn't appear.
No
Have you
world.
seen the crazy shit you can do with Claw's leadership?
Have you seen Claw die instantly because he's Claw? Like he's a
no,
fucking
I'm not
pussy.
comparing the models.
This
I'm comparing the
is
leadership.
so much better
So-
than Claw.
Hold on. No,
okay, so I will
because if you could switch
Yes,
to
if you
leadership
swapped
right
them.
now, you would.
It'd be kind of crazy to have Doctor Strange with Claw's leadership.
Yeah.
The problem is Claw's leadership's
No,
Also
it
keep
would
in
not.
mind that Claw, it's really just Sandman makes it stupid because you could get 2 triggers on the first turn.
Sure.
And he could be on the midline before he's activated, and you're like, hold on a second.
Yeah,
No,
there's
so-
some cheap
Sure,
bullshit
so Claw,
you can do.
famously the worst leader in the entire game. Who else?
Oh,
Sin, well, on a 5 threat, I was about to say Sin, but
ASM.
I would say Sin's leadership's way better than this.
no, it's not.
How is it not?
I haven't talked yet. I'm waiting.
Okay,
It's,
all right.
I'm going to give you the reason why.
Conditionally giving Hex to some opponents is dumb. That is a bad leadership. That is a very bad leadership. Go ahead, guys.
No, you're good. I do want to raise 2 5 threats that might have a worse leadership, and just in case. King T'Challa.
No.
And Amazing Spider-Man.
No. They're both better.
What?
Really? You can guaranteed apply slow to an enemy.
If you have a
That
power,
is better
Spider-Man.
than sometimes
Within 2.
doing Hex.
Okay,
So?
so
Go
this
ahead, guys.
this is better than
Right,
both
Parker.
of those. And you're right, CJ. Both of those are worse, and this is
Okay.
why. There are some models that are move slow. Everyone rolls fucking dice. The ability to say your crits don't add to your pool means that something really important happens to this game. That if you can consistently put Hex out with any model that's not supposed to, you can also start combining this with shit like shock. Like my model will shock and Hex you at the same time. The ability for your opponent to spike becomes so insanely small. You cannot be. It's an amazing power that if you can do it with priority, so if you have higher model counts, make sure their key model is absolutely neutered before they have the opportunity to go, or lose too many actions to regain the ability to spike. I cannot overstate how amazingly more consistent the Defenders list, and specifically Doctor Strange, is now. You already mentioned it. The block Pierce is huge because one of his big problems was getting enough power to fuel an every once in a while Crimson Band and using now a range 3 damage heal. Jesus Christ, he doesn't have to sacrifice movement anymore to get to the character he wants to heal. He can do it with his medium base pretty far away. And now Hoggoth lets you add to defense or dodge and buff himself. He is so much more consistent to live, and he is so much more consistent to... His list is so much more consistent to live because of Judgment of Ashanti. I think in terms of offensive, it's definitely worse. You're right. Losing the ability to pick, that means you will spike less. That's true. However, you can so quickly neuter opponents, and you don't even have to do damage to their supermodels. You can just point, and if you roll a wild with a shock and they're 5 costs or more, enjoy being shocked and hexed, and deal. Or shocked and incinerated. Go deal. Like, there's so many models that can do both at the same time with this. That is so strong to neuter their ability to spike. It's crazy. I am really excited to play Doctor Strange with exclusively incinerators and shocking models. I'm really excited to try that because I think it's going to be really cool.
That's a great way to utilize his bad leadership.
So
I just don't see that dramatically impacting your ability to win a game. I'm not saying it's not good. It is clearly a good combination of abilities. Anybody would choose to hex all of their important opponent models. They would always choose that. I'm not saying it's a bad ability. I'm saying it's a bad value for a leadership slot. If that was a random rule he had, sure. But it's just not as good to me.
And let's just... I'll just put one more thing out there. Something that we have said before on this cast is Doctor Strange's 2 powers and his own presence on the board, especially with things like Crimson Bands. Mm-hmm. He was like a leader without his leadership. If you never procced the old leadership that he had and you never chose to use it, he felt like a leader because of all his cool support effects. Mm-hmm. And his denial effects on your opponent. Bolt of Bedevilment still fucking pushes you around. And now it does it more often because it works on a block. You get to pierce. So, there are so many ways that he's going to contribute to the field. I think his leadership is going to be just a little bit more salt on that wound of what he already does really well. And giving him more power consistency is huge, which is what he got, I think.
I don't think they actually made his power generation more consistent.
He'll get plus when he attacks. If he rolls a shield, he gets
same
plus
number
2.
of wild.
But he gets
rolling
plus
the same
2.
number as he used to.
But he gets plus 2 power whenever he rolls a shield, presuming they don't.
Oh, you're saying because the builder can build one more? Okay, I'll give you that.
Because before
it's not a huge amount of power throughout a game, but it is a relevant amount of power. I'll give you that. But I don't think he's generating that much more power, but it is more power.
Yeah.
I will say
he didn't need 5 more power. He needed 2 or 3 more power to really be able to turn on.
He needs power on early turns is what he needed.
Yes.
Because he needed, when you walk up and you spender him before he's gained any, then he just dies, right? Because he couldn't spend to increase, and you could just catch him blinking, and because you're like, I'll hit you with a big 7 dice physical attack, deal 3 or 4, throw something into your dazed, and then and they just kill you when you wake up, and that's how he would always die. I will say now, I am way more interested in playing him as a splash model.
Yeah.
Than I was before.
That was my next thing. Yes. I think he is really interesting in any affiliation that can feed him a little bit of power, or like Steve 1, which is used to just sitting there and living forever with awesome reactive powers.
I've played a Steve 1 list with him in it before, and it's just obviously way better now.
Yes.
God. Because
I'm standing on my hill, though. I think his leadership is quite bad.
I think his leadership is middle of the pack. I don't think it's head of the pack at all. I think it's middle. But I think it will be. I think it will be better than you think after we play it a bit. I think you will be surprised.
That's fair. I haven't seen it on the table. I've played with his old leadership though, which hexed people arguably more often. Although this one is free, so there's that to it. But I when I played him as the leader, because I had Daredevil in my list too. It's like he was the leader for a reason, and I think he had value before.
No, I don't think the old leadership was bad. I don't know if I ever said that. But I don't think it was. But there were games that we didn't use it.
Yeah, there's just I don't think hexing is enough. If just hexing everybody was enough, then Strange wouldn't have needed a big buff. For me, if you just think about it logically, the way scenarios work right now. very few of your cheap models are going to be able to attack on the first turn. Almost everybody's going to be double moving to get to points and do stuff. If you are attacking on the first turn, you're selling out for tempo. And getting a 1 or 2 hexes out on the first turn on the off chance you do damage is minuscule in my opinion. It's really going to be like Strange himself trying to deal damage on the first turn if he can afford to not get a point on his own. Then, it's just the order of activations. You're going to get 1 or 2 activations under hex for each of your enemy models. Is that going to be enough? Because the game's ending on turn 4 more than likely. And I just don't see it being enough to noticeably change the outcome of the game.
I think
he is.
We'll see, but I think the ability to stop the extra dice, I think it's very noticeable. Especially, we're getting to a point in the game where you can kind of funnel a critical mass of characters into your list that are all like rerolling 2 or 3 or all, and that's something you can do defensively or offensively. And the ability to stop those extra dice that are blanks for martial artists or rerollable, because you're Namor and Zemo together, like that's happening so much in the premium models. I would love if the crit didn't happen, right? That would be useful.
It's also like that you're assuming that they're even going to crit in the first place on their initial roll, which is not guaranteed by any means. And it's of all times in the game that we needed to stop crits is like we just missed that period.
That's
true.
Like
Reality Stone's basically out of the game. Malekith got nuked out of the game. Like all of these things that were causing this issue, like this is just 2 years too late. If we had this guy 2 years ago, he'd probably be super meta because all the bullshit running around. If you could I'm just going to move Strange and shoot Malekith. Congrats, you're super hexed and pushed. Fuck off. Next turn, I'm going to activate you with fucking Crimson Bands. Like, that's exactly the tool we needed to deal with this Thanos bullshit, but we didn't have it. So.
Malekith specifically is immune to hex, but sure. I see your point.
Yeah, exactly. But you can still activate him and stagger him and stuff. And that's the other problem. They kept releasing fucking models immune to their one weakness.
Yeah. I will die on the hill that that his leadership is not bad. But it's also not great. It's just there, and I think it was actively hard to play before because it cost the power, so it kind of restricted what characters you were excited to use it with. And I'm excited to see what kind of thing this does. I am going to try my double condition build. I'm going to try that to see how it goes.
Sure.
You guys ready to move on to Clea?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yep.
Clea got a big glow up. Look at this girl. So many cool things. I think she instantly went into my old defenders list, and I think she's going to see play in a lot of lists now. She's going to be right there next to Mordo and models like those that are just great to drop in if you're excited to do a couple of really cool things. But she's got a bunch of new stuff. What are you excited about?
I actually think I would take her over Mordo at this point. Mostly because she's got better things she can do with power. Mordo really only had a really good spender and the Cinerex Fury. It kind of sucks that she still takes damage from her thingamabopper.
Boy, does she.
Yeah. But it's capped at 2, so she can't kill herself now.
But now I was gonna say it's still this is I think a nerf to her actually, because you're
100%
a nerf because rolling 5 dice.
She was already one of the squishiest 3s in the entire game.
Oh, you're talking about how you could also
2 physical defense, 5 health. They gave her 1 extra health, but she takes 2 damage from every skull.
No, she takes
2 damage
from every roll with a skull in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's fucking awful.
Yeah,
she can't be anywhere. She has to be on the back line. The furthest she can go forward is a D, or she's
But she's
dead.
definitely equipped to sit on the back line, right?
Well, because she has to, because their thing costs a
she's
fucking
not like
action.
if she's up in melee, you kind of you don't want that. But she still has things to do with that power, though, because
that's all she can do, though.
Not necessarily. Like Icy Tendrils is a pretty good spender. That trigger's a lot easier to happen now. Her builder sucks.
The stagger one's slightly better, right?
I think they took
took
a trigger off of everything, didn't they? Or is it just the staggers?
I think it's just the stag. Yeah, it's wild hit.
The slow became a hit.
Sure.
So it's not, that's
Uh,
better.
It is better, and then the stun's the same. The stagger is
No shield.
a block easier, which is better.
Yeah. So that got better.
Yeah.
But she can walk up and just do it now, right? No, I guess not. It's an action
turn
for Descendant,
2?
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the problem, is an action. Like, I played Red Skull 1 as well. Like, it's having a model lose an action is so you can't make it to any points but a D. Like sure, you can go stand on a B, but then you're just going to die.
I think the correct change would have just made this meditate, especially since they just put that on another 3.
So obviously Talons of Farley, which is really what we're talking about, because without that, I think it's just objectively irrelevant. Is Talons of Farley enough to get this model on the table? And again, we're talking about probably one of what a lot of people would have considered a bottom 3-pointer in the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, she did nothing. Like, Lockjaw was printed, like, right after her. She's fucking worthless.
I cannot find my clay.
And then they were like,
how much I've played her.
Exactly. It's like, what? She was so bad. And then it was, again, it's just like the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We need to make sure you stay in the bottom 20% of the game. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
So,
true. They did.
Talons is amazing,
Yeah.
but you're giving up a 3-point model for it, because all she's ever going to do is stand on the back point. And in some games, that's okay, but she's in the Wizards faction that has people that stand on the back point already. You have Wong. You have Mordo. She's competing for people in her own fucking faction. Like, it's so annoying.
Is there a weird world where you run both Mordo and her and just have one dude nuking people? Does that work?
I've been thinking about that, but the problem is you have to activate both of them. They do nothing. And then you activate a third model who makes 1 +4 dice attack and takes a damage. And so now I've probably dealt 3 damage to my own team, spent 3 activations, and like 8 power.
All according to plan.
Yeah, let me think. That's probably worth it, right? Because I hexed that person.
Yeah. Unjudged if it's a 5 threat.
Yeah. So yeah, the judgment's cool, but it's after the attack, right? Yeah, because if it dealt damage. So they've already taken the damage.
Yeah.
So
you want to whiff on the first
they
judge,
take us.
and then on the second attack use Mordo. It's
But you mean on turn 2
correct,
after they've killed my whole list?
Yeah, after I-Hulk runs up and just beats her to death.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of wishes and nuts, because you're going to have to activate these models early to get the power build up for this to work. And unless you're just setting up for a massive turn 2, which means you're taking multiple 3-pointers and setting up for a massive turn 2, the odds of you having prio are a coin flip at best. I don't know, man. I like the mechanic. I love Talons of Farley. It's a great rule. I wish it wasn't a 3-cost power on a model that kills itself. Like, what's going to happen? It's more than likely she takes 2 damage a turn. So what are you going to do on turn 3 when she's going to fucking daze herself? You're like, I'm going to take 3 damage. I'm going to daze myself in the hopes that I'll have 3 damage to use my fucking ability. And you're like, okay.
That is.
And best case scenario, she gains the power, doesn't die, and then they daze her. You're like, cool. I'm so glad I did this.
Yeah, that is very, very true. I think, and this might seem kind of silly when I say it, but I think she is another model that kind of just needs to have a babysitter. Like, she's clearly meant to be like ran with Doctor Strange under the Defender's leadership now, because you can double up the thing, right? They clearly looked at these 2 cards and went, okay, Clea is always getting taken with Doctor Strange. Who would take her without Doctor Strange?
They're also like
they are married.
Both Sorcerer Supremes. Yeah. It makes sense that like they would have.
It's husband and wife, right? I think that's true in the comics. Parker.
I don't know if they're involved or not.
They're absolutely married.
Okay.
That's why her last name is Strange.
I didn't even look. Was her last name? Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. It was just Clea before. They added Strange. They did. I just checked. They added Strange. That's
so
funny.
And that seems to be like you could take the power thruple, so you could take Wong, Doctor Strange, and Clea now, and I don't know if for 10 points in 3 factions.
Yeah, and just lose on scenario on turn 2.
No, Doctor Strange can push them off. You lose on scenario turn 3.
But you have 3 models, so like
don't do anything. Yeah.
First. Yeah, if you have prio, they just wait till you push them and walk back on the point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll let other people talk, but I like I said, I was just testing this stuff out today, and I didn't hate playing her, which I think is a huge buff.
Sure. How many times did you use the Faltine?
Every round.
Did you take damage?
No, I took damage once.
Once.
Yes, I got very lucky with that.
So high rolling makes it better.
Yeah, of course. I rolled 7 crits. I killed my opponent. It was great. But I think Talons is definitely almost... I think it might be good enough to start considering her to bring her this stuff, because it's a neat rule. And range 4 on that's kind of crazy.
No, it's great. Talons is an amazing rule. The question is the rest of this kit worth putting in a list?
And that's
because of Talons.
And I think there's room to explore it. What do you think, Parker? Oh, sorry, Zach. What do you think, Zach?
So I think she could be. You might have thoughts on this, Brandon, because we've played it. We've both played him a lot. I think she could now become very, very interesting with Magneto. She obviously has always been able to move him around, but when he can reroll any number, giving him that extra 2, so now he's got an 8 dice builder. She's not going to have to kill herself quite as much because his leadership's cycling power through her, and so she feels like a little bit of a hybrid between a Lockjaw and a Mordo. And to me, feels like a character that Magneto could really make a lot of use out of. But that's one spot I've just thought of that she might be nice. I wish I didn't have to bring a support 3 for my 6th threat, but we can have a different conversation.
You're not wrong.
But that was one thought that I had was
I don't think she's unplayable.
Next to him.
I just really dislike this design standpoint of let's really make you make a Sophie's Choice over a model that hasn't been put on a table in 2 years. Like,
yeah.
Why don't it's okay
right.
that you make a model that's competitive, like that might see the table on its own merit without having to give it 5 support pieces.
I do have that point to make about their design choices, because at the same time they look at Clay and they go, "Oh, we can't make her too strong." They make Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly. It pisses me off to no end when it's just like obviously have and have nots. I fucking hate that in game design so much.
Well, it's like like I said, they have a big wheel of model design stuff, and they go, "Oh shit! I guess we have to make Deadpool great. Let's spin the wheel." Oh, okay. Let's
sure, but like you come across like Crossbones and Viper.
They spun bad on the wheel.
That's fine that you have filler models. I'm not going to kill you for having filler models. What I don't like is you going through the trouble of buffing them just to put them back where they were when they initially came out, which is bottom of the pack.
Because it's just
pointless. Like drives me nuts.
You absolutely, and you're right. In terms of game design, this is my personal opinion. You need to have things that are way up on the curve, like perfectly, things that are below the curve, and things that are above the curve, or else you won't have any meta spin, right? It'll just be the same thing all the time. So if you have a game with variable point values, right, and you have choices, so I think that having Clea be bottom, rung is fine. But I 100% agree with you, Brandon. The fact that they buffed her-ish, right, is weird because I agree with you, Zach. When I saw her, that's the very first thing I thought is, oh, cool. So it's kind of like half Lockjaw and half Mordo with a 40%, because that's the chance of rolling a skull on 5 dice, a 40% chance of being dog shit. Cool. Like, that's kind of interesting. Like, that's an interesting... Because as soon as you roll that skull, I think she instantly becomes so much worse than either of those 2 models, right? So,
how is it only a 40% chance of rolling a skull on 5 dice?
I just looked it up. It's 40.1% chance.
But what are the odds of not rolling a skull on 5 dice? That doesn't...
60?
I'm sorry. I looked up... Yeah. Nope, I looked up
the odds of not.
I looked at odds of rolling 1 skull. But it could be
right. Any skulls on 5 dice.
Yeah. Let me look that up. Sorry. Any skulls.
Because it's just 1 in 8 factorial.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way it's less likely. There's 5 out of 8. Like it's not possible.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm not the best at statistics, but that
I was going to say 40% chance seems actually not that bad.
Like that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like
I'll take those numbers.
Yeah.
I'll do this all the time.
No, and again, if we lived in the meta when she came out where it was okay to have models stand in the back, I'm way more okay with this. But in what world we currently live in, if every single model you have isn't fighting for scenario points, you're losing. This model does not make you win the game by turn 4. At all. She helps a little, but she's not directly involved. She's not Zemo. She's not X-23. She's not Deadpool. She's not doing any of that. So she's just making other models better at a huge detriment to your list because she's not actively engaged in anything. Best case scenario, she finds a reasonably close extract to pick up, doesn't take damage. And if you can't find a reasonably close extract to pick up, that means she's just standing on a blue, which is probably better for you long term, because you can't really afford to have her holding an extract, because now she's a huge target. And so it's like the best case scenario is she's basically performing the role of a 2-pointer. And I know it seems like Mordo just does that, but Mordo is great because he's a medium, so he can get to points other people can't. He can counteractively adjust for board control because he's got the levitation boots. So if they push him off a point, he walks right back so they can't get him off. He can generate power without fucking killing himself. As dumb as it sounds, 4 energy defense is very relevant when you're standing on a back point.
Yeah, like
The chance of her... Go ahead.
Like I said, I don't think it would have been a bad idea just to make her action thing meditate like the other characters have.
Yeah.
That would have been perfectly fine.
Well, her power costs are assumed that she's like, obviously, look at it, down the line 333 because they know she's generating extra power. Like I've always said, generating extra power is a curse because they balance you around it.
It's like
if she didn't have that, those would all cost 2.
Even then, it's like, okay, cool. Now
I don't think talents cost 2, but I think talents cost 3.
All this does is let her go to a pay to flip it, and then now she can do her power. That's the only thing it changes, right? If she couldn't meditate, because if she could meditate, then she could do the place, but like that doesn't change.
By meditate, you mean use the dark arts that Mordo has,
whatever. Because it's the same action, gain 2 power, right?
It meditates 1, and then all the 3-pointers and up generally do it for 2 power because there's it's a capacitor overload on Crimson.
Vision.
And then Vision does synthesize for 2, and then Mordo does 2.
Yeah.
But
Karnak's meditate
Wong
gets 2.
only gets 1. Yeah. It's just the 2. It's just Wong gets 1. Everybody else gets 2.
But yeah, the meditate type action is what I should say.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. I think that would have been perfectly fine. I don't think.
But meditate, I believe, is also the only one that you can do more than once. I think a lot of the other ones are limited once per turn.
Karnak says this character gains 2 once per turn. Yeah.
Yeah, his is once.
Can you do? Oh no, you.
Vision, I think, can do it twice,
Yeah.
but I think all the other people are 1.
Solar power.
But Vision is out because of
what's the chance for skulls, Parker?
The chance of getting 1 skull on 5 dice is 60%. So I actually did have it backwards, but I don't think that was math. I think that was just coincidence. But the point is, so you have a 60% chance of her becoming instantly terrible because she's going to be played with so much less. I think there's another affiliation that really wants her. I am excited actually to try her in any list with Red Skull 2, because Red Skull 2 also loves to have 2 extra dice and a place 2.
Ooh.
So there is a reason to play Clea, and one of the reasons why I think Red Skull 2 is even better for Clea over Magneto is Magneto, at your peril, you can attempt to ignore him because he's so hard to take down usually, but you feel like you can't ignore Red Skull, like you have to start killing him, or else Grunts and him and his damage just overwhelms people. So he often takes a lot of attacks. Having Clea nearby is just going to be less. She's in less danger because Red Skull's there. I'm not saying it's a great
I'll buy
reason.
that.
I'm just saying that Clea will likely live to help Red Skull while he's dying. But I think Clea Red Skull 2 will be useful. But I do agree that outside of her own affiliations might be the better place to find her, because aside from spending a lot of other points to heal her when she fucks up, it seems like I guess you take her when your plan is to burn down, right? I'm taking you with me. I'm burning.
Yeah.
Then she does.
The only issue is that she's going to add maybe 8 attack dice to your attack tools over the course of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And for a 3-pointer that isn't bad, you would get infinitely more than that potentially. Like, just taking Valkyrie gets you more than that guaranteed. Mm. She will make 2 attacks in the game and do 10 dice into your pools. And then also they'll have to kill her, and she won't kill herself. For people that think I'm making too big a deal about her taking damage, the issue is that she's scheduled to die on the turn that the game is going to be decided. She's going to die on turn 4. regardless of what you want to do, because she's already taken 4 to 6 damage by her own mechanics.
Mhm.
And so right when you need a contesting model, either 2 health, 2 physical defense, Clea's going to walk onto the center point, or she'll just be dead on your first activation of the turn. And you're going to feel like you've lost the game because of dumb shit, and there's no coming back from this. Like, you can't just have a model that you're relying on randomly die. And if she even, at least if she got power for taking the damage, she could then not have to use the ability later, because she'd have enough power on her own right. But no, she's going to have to do it and have no power. And so she has no ability to do anything. And so I just see that happening way too often, that she just disintegrates on the turn you need her most.
She does strike me as a character that looks like she has a bunch of cool stuff to do, like a Darkstar. Like when you look at Darkstar's card and you're like, oh wow, this has got a bunch of cool stuff on it, and then you put her down on the board, you're like, oh, this doesn't actually work at all. I feel like this is actually going to be what happens to Clea. I agree.
It's very much like Mysterio. When you read his card, you go, this card is insane. He does everything. And then you see it in action, you're like, oh, yeah, speed short's kind of important. And you're like, and the fact that he doesn't generate power, and you're like, oh shit. If I just told you, it's like, all right, hear me out. 3-pointer. She can place people at range 4. She can add dice to people's attack rolls. She applies judgment on other people's activations. She can throw interactive terrain or enemies. She can generate power out of nowhere. She has a stagger spender. And you're like, that sounds insane. And then you read her card, you're like, oh, I see. Like, I see what they
never
did
mind.
there. Yeah. She's clearly better than before, but to like what degree, I don't think it's enough. But I'm going to try her. I'm not just writing her off, but I think it's not enough.
I think she'll be fun
She's
to play
better-
if you're planning on burning everything down, including yourself. And I think that's going to be fun.
I just don't think it's worth it. Like, if I told you I was going to give up a 3-point model to do stuff, I would expect a deal with the devil type effect and not a Mordo type effect.
Yeah.
If only there was a comparable model that also added 2 dice to your attack rolls that didn't die automatically.
Yeah.
We might know what frame of reference we were looking at.
Mhm.
All right, let's go to the next one. We are spending way too long on these individually. I know these are the
I said this. Is
I know
the
these
speed
are the
round.
divisive ones.
We've got
that
a couple quick
I always
ones
knew
coming up.
complication was where
Hopefully
we are going to get bogged down. But so after this, we're going to start flying through these.
Sexy Strange can now
Mhm.
dodge even better than before. Super cool. That's all. Like, it's cool.
It's just the dodging,
Yeah,
right?
that's all it is.
Yep, that's it.
Cool.
Yep.
For the first
Yep.
time,
Same as
Convocation
right.
got a
Yep.
quality of life change.
Definitely better.
That made sense. Like the Wong getting an extra die from Strange, not Super Strange, and it's like, bro, come on. Like,
Yeah.
he's literally the sorcerer. Can I get the die, please? Like, finally we got it.
No, fuck you. Moving on.
All right, next up.
CGR is still
Exclamation.
CGR.
No changes.
They just basically are printing the card as it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Am I crazy? We still don't have a Malekith card, right?
No.
Did that come out at some point and nobody told
the
me?
last
The-
correct.
set was
The updated
Malekith.
card is the updated.
Yeah.
The updated PDF is the one.
Okay, so there is. I thought there was no functional Malekith card.
Not like officially printed.
Okay.
You'd have
There
to
is.
print it
Alright.
yourself.
You have to print it.
It's a
yourself.
print to
Yeah.
play, but I didn't think there was even a print to play. Okay,
No.
I'm wrong.
There was not a Ghost Rider print to play. Now there is.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
X23 got a buff. It's just a straight buff, and it's actually not. It's not
no.
nothing. It blows.
Not a straight buff.
It's actually a buff
Got a
that
buff
I
and a
is
nerf.
that it's happened to me many. I've played X23 a lot,
Super
and
relevant.
it is it's actually happened to me many times that I couldn't use Frenzy because I was doing an attack to get enough power to get Frenzy, and I didn't have enough before the attack. But now you just, it's so dumb. It's just so dumb.
It is the only ability, to my knowledge, that works that way because of the silly wording they had.
Right.
Agreed. I'm glad they.
Angela
It's the
and
same rule,
Carnage.
yes.
That's why they
Yeah.
fixed theirs too.
No, but all I'm saying is it's the only rule that has had this issue because, like, counterattack and all that other stuff, Counter-Strike, all that shit is already built in that it happens after the attack. This one specifically happened during the attack, but it was resolved after, and it was very weird that it was different than all the other abilities in the game. So I'm happy they cleaned it up, but I'm not happy that X23 got buffed in that regard.
Well,
I think it's, again, context matters.
So, what I would ask then, obviously that part's good. Do you not feel like losing Adamantium Skeleton is a nerf?
I agree that it's
she's so
actually
much
pretty
easier to
good
displace now that she's always size 2.
It's a
I don't know if Parker realized she lost that.
Oh no, I did. I think it's
Okay.
absolute buff.
you
That
can't
she
get tossed
doesn't-
into her teammates now.
Yep.
That she
I
can
don't
get
give a fuck about
impact
that.
webbing
I
twice?
care about taking damage, but using her as pinballing around my models. Because when I'm taking, because yeah,
I agree with that. That part of it
'cause,
is better.
Yeah, so there are a few models that don't push size 3 that do push size 2. That does happen, but it's so much more common that shit throws me.
Yeah.
That's so much more common. So
Well, and then
having losing
I think
the extra
you're
dice.
underestimating the amount of abilities in the game you're immune to because of Adamantium Skeleton.
you just don't notice it.
It's a lot. It's
Well,
like
that-
80% of
I
throws are
think so,
size
too.
2.
That's not true. There's
It's
no
just
way.
no of
80%
all models in the
throw.
game, it might be, but of models that get played, it's definitely closer to 50-50.
Well, now she can be
But
Sure.
there's
played
a
by anyone
reason
who can throw
because they get
characters.
played because they can throw threes.
And I guess what I'm saying is, I cannot remember a time when I was protected by it, but I have been killed. But
So let me put it this way. I think playing against her, you used to want to throw her and pinball her like you do now. Now I think because it's much easier to throw, you're like, I'll just throw you away. I'll just throw you away, short, medium, whatever, and she's going to be effectively staggered. Like that's where I think, or like again, webs are going to be able to impact webbing her. That's where I think it's going to be different. It's less about pinballing her and more about just you
Well,
get
if
thrown
you-
over
how many
there.
times
All right,
is
you
she
get to
just
make
gonna
one
get
attack
placed?
this action.
I was gonna say, well, if you told
Or
me
this
that
information.
Laura's a little bit easier to control than she was before, I go, good. She's fucking dumb. Like she's way over the top. She should.
Right.
There should be something you should be able to do to Laura to stop her from killing everything that she has in front of her.
It's
Angela-
just weird. You're arguing both sides of the same argument. So
Oh well, what I'm saying, I think it's a buff.
That's fair.
I think it's a buff to her. But if you guys are swearing that she'll be controlled more often, I think that's probably good for the game. That's what I meant.
yeah, I don't disagree. I just think that you might be underestimating how many times your opponent has realized she had Adamantium Skeleton and didn't try.
Oh.
And because of that, you felt like she wasn't getting thrown the time she could have been, and so you're only noticing the times that your opponent did have a size 3 throw.
Okay.
And now she'll be. It's a pretty big change. I personally would have much rather seen her just lose Assassin Training. I think that would have been a better fix. I think keep Adamantium Skeleton, get rid of Assassin Training, fix Frenzy. I think that's fine. I think that would have put her right in the realm of fine. She's still an upper curve model while not being at the top of the stack.
Agree.
Are you guys ready to talk about an upper curve model in my hands? Because with Parker dice, she cannot be stopped.
Mhm.
That's Angela. She got the same treatment.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be the same for everybody with Frenzy.
Yeah.
I still think Angel is objectively a bad model. She relies entirely on RNG to win the game
Mhm.
and has no way to modify it, and that's a bad model in the game.
What do you mean bad model? There could be models that rely on RNG.
The value of her kit is not worth the RNG you have to suffer through to win the game.
Okay, that's an
Yeah.
argument, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I thought you meant like she's bad for the game. You just meant she's not
No.
good if you were trying to pick. The
I don't
best
think
model
she's
to
worth
win.
5 points.
Got it. Next model is Heimdall. The
Yeah,
quiet
I don't
little
actually.
remember fix.
what-
All Seeing Eyes is now range 4. His
Okay.
reroller.
Sure.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
It's technically a buff.
It's quality of
It
life.
is.
Would have liked to see more, but it is technically a buff.
Yeah.
Parker,
Oh, yeah.
you played him a ton with Steve 1. I'm sure it's better to have 4 than 3. I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't think Heimdall is one of those models that I don't know what you could touch to what you could buff without fucking breaking him wide open. He's really, really pushed. The problem,
Yeah.
the reason why you don't see him, I think, is because he's so static.
Mhm.
He's a
He only
very
works in very specific builds.
yeah. Like he is stuck in concrete in those things. But the problem is, we've talked about this before, if you modified him at all to make him more playable to anywhere, he would be fuck busted in those things he's already concreted in. So
Perfect example. Like, why is he just not objectively better than Clea? Like, we just spent all that time talking about Clea. He doesn't kill himself. He has 2 power turn.
he gets to attack a lot more often.
He's noticeably sturdier, I would say.
Mhm.
An extra physical defense doesn't seem like a lot, but also not damaging yourself is a lot.
Also, he often is not attacked by melee models because they don't want to just move in front of him and get fucking shanked. So
he punishes people for attacking him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is probably fine. I would say that he didn't need a change, but they're probably trying to open up his play because he's, again, abused in one list and worthless everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I understand the logic train there. And honestly, with the way scenarios are laid out right now, he's probably not going to get played again unless they did that.
Yeah. It does
But
allow
there's a lot of
him
models in
to
that
affect
same
more
boat.
scenarios with his reroll thing for scenarios, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of models that are in that same boat. They
Yeah.
didn't fix them.
Moving on to Bishop. The updated timing on his card, so now works in the cleanup phase.
Yeah, that's actually pretty relevant because that's the
Right.
damage taking
Yeah,
thing, right?
it's
Starting with
actually
5
huge.
health.
So
is
he
cool.
doesn't
Yeah,
start
starting
with
5 is
4
cool.
health on the back.
It's bigger than 4. That's good.
Relevant.
You don't die immediately.
I think this whole wave of releases was the first time I was really disappointed in the being true to the characters aspect. I felt like they really missed on Bishop, Kitty, and Professor X.
Yeah, I think
Kitty makes no sense,
I really
and then
hate
Bishop.
representation because her
Yeah,
powers just don't work. Like it's not the same power set, right?
Right, it's like she's just stronger vision, which makes no sense, like at all. She has this weird utility mechanic that doesn't make sense, and then Bishop should be like the best blaster in their faction, except for maybe Cyclops. And then they made Professor X like a hyper aggressive tempo attrition piece, which is just fucking weird.
Yeah.
He should have been Cassandra Nova, and like Cassandra Nova should have been Professor X. Like it's just very
that'd
weird.
be fun.
That just feel like that was the first like wave that they just missed. Because like there's errors are gonna happen, but like the whole set, like Iceman's the only one that makes sense, and his powers are fucking crazy too.
Nightcrawler technically was in that same set.
I just don't like the design. Nightcrawler and Iceman, I think, are broken, but true to the comics.
That's
but
what
they're
I'm talking
broken.
about. Yeah, like Nightcrawler.
And then everyone else, they just hard missed with like the theme.
But that's kind of like the X-Men kind of have the curse of like, oh hey, well we don't want to make them too good.
That's never been a thing.
What? Like, okay, I think they have the greatest, like the worst defenses on average for a faction.
I have not looked at the numbers on that. I would be blown away if that was true. With the time when they were released, they were way ahead of the curve on stats.
True.
I
bet.
I don't
But
think
I
they
don't
have.
think-
No, I don't think they're. No.
They definitely have never been gatekeepered by the devs. That's never been a thing. They've had quality of life beyond reason for a long time, and just the thing that they do really well is not useful right now, is the only reason they're not played. And every aspect of the way they were played had to be nerfed because they were too good.
Yeah, now
Like-
the Steely extract thing is bullshit. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's focus.
Anyway, let's get back to
it
the
wasn't
updates so we can
Bishop
get through
didn't get
these.
changed very much.
Yeah.
The next
it's a
one.
good change.
It's good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next change is Colossus. He actually got a big glow up. His attacks both totally changed their effects. So now he wild pushes instead of makes them lose a power on his basic attack. He gets stagger. I lost stagger and replaced with a throw on a wild for his spender. And he has the weirdest fucking wording for his taunt now. I don't want to talk about it yet. I'll just ask you guys about his attacks first, because then I'm just going to have to stop and have somebody fucking do a flowchart for me for this fucking power, because I do not understand how it fucking works.
Attacks are definitely a good change. I think it makes him really
you guys
useful.
go ahead.
He's so hard to displace. Now he can actually displace someone back instead of them standing there smacking each other, seeing who died first. So I think that's a good change for him. I believe the push is omnidirectional. Yeah, push is any direction, so is the throw, and they're both before. So timing is as good as you can ask for. Directionally, it's as good as you can ask for. I think it'll make a nice difference for him to really be able to hold down something and not just hope that he 5 dices and kills them. Like, he actually can displace them off, and he's pretty hard to move. So
I do love that he's
Yeah.
more like a Russian wrestler now, right? It's like the idea is,
Zanky.
yeah, he's gonna pick you up and suplex you, whatever. I like that before, the concussive force and the stagger just didn't make a lot of sense. We're talking about like theme, making them feel like they should. He's supposed to be a bruiser guy. He's supposed to move things around. Almost everybody in the, Hulk, Juggernaut, Colossus, these are all their iconic, bruisers. All those guys push and throw things. And I like that they just did the same treatment for Colossus. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the crazy thing was that this guy in the comics would like fight Juggernaut, and then in the game he'd fight Juggernaut and be like, "No, Juggernaut, lose some power."
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Sure, I understand like the wanting to be true to the comics thing, but like in a game where there's mechanics that need to be balanced, he is arguably the toughest model in the entire game. And so giving him board control on top of being practically unkillable is something you generally don't want to do. And so that's why he did the things he did, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I understand that people wanted him to do things that like big strong guys do, but you need to give something up for that. And so it seems like this guy is just going to get buffed every time the community complains about it. And so I'm assuming this time in 2 years he'll just be like 1 point and have double
so
he currently has.
I'll kind of extend off of you.
Brandon. This
is just exactly what I'm talking about. Like CJ's like, well, they never get to have anything good. It's like they literally change the rules every time the community complains.
I think this
will
like,
be
all the one model that I feel like this was the touch too far. And like you said, he's super hard to kill. He's very hard to move. Now he gets to move you back. I think he's going to be the one that Apocalypse is already very good, and now he's going to be definitely stapled there all the time, and I think he's going to be the one model of all of these that to me is, we're going to see this all the time now.
I said this before. It's like the immune to pushing thing was super cool, but like everything else about the model was better before. I understand that every X-Men player wanted a speed medium base model because that was the objective best stat line to have in the game. And they already had like 2 or 3, but they wanted another one. And so they're like, I guess we'll just make Colossus that because people kept crying. And it's like, yeah, you got your thing, but obviously Bodyguard was way better than Taunt because all they have to do is walk away from you and then they can shoot somebody that you don't want them to shoot. And you can't be everywhere at once. And so it made it way harder to use him as a defensive piece, which meant he was just a bad combat piece. Which I understand, like, why would you take this over Logan? You wouldn't, because surviving is not nearly as important as dealing damage. Especially when you don't have board control. And so now we wanted the board control and the toughness. And so that's what we finally got. So the Big Brother ability is basically just taunt, but you can use it at range 4 instead of range 2. You just only take the hit if you're within range 2. If you're not within range 2, you get pseudo-aggressive. After the attack is resolved, you get to walk towards the attack.
Oh, now I understand. Okay, so that's what I was trying to figure out why. Because I was like, if it still only works at range 2, what's the range 4 there? It's just because now you
have to be able to activate it to be able to get the advance.
Got it.
And so it's basically if you attack a buddy of mine, regardless of where they are, because they didn't feel that was important to add, even though the leaderships in their own faction require it. As long as you attack one of my friends, and I'm within 4 of you when you attack them, I get to walk towards you at the end. But if I was within range 2 instead, I take the hit. The only good thing about this is that he's not going to be able to power it repeatedly, so that at least that way you can calculate it into like your thing. But the fact that he has like an out of activation free move is really crazy, considering how hard it's going to be to not trigger this. I think this build is going to be really silly strong. The fact that you can out of activation walk onto a contesting point, because it just says move towards the attacker short. There's a lot of leeway in an advanced short where you could move to contest a point at the end of a round because they decided to attack somebody, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard for a while. Combining that with the fact that he can't be pushed is, I think, probably too much, and then giving him board control on every attack he has is also probably a little too much, especially since neither of them have a direction on them. They just push omnidirectional. That seems like we wanted to give you literally everything you could ever want, and that seems like a bridge way too far. This is not the same change we were talking about above, which is exactly what I'm bringing up, is that there's haves and have-nots. This is a half. They literally got everything they could ever want for it. They invented new abilities to give him, because it wasn't strong enough before. I don't think there's any model in the game that has the can't be pushed thing, other than him. Everything else is like buy an attack. He's the only one that has that bullshit. Oh, and we also needed him to have range 4 taunt because reasons? And he also needs to be the toughest model in the game and have omnidirectional board control
size
on
4
every
too,
attack
so
he
it's
ever
like,
makes.
It's limited by Sentinels
Yeah,
and Dormammu, but everything else, good.
Yeah. I very much dislike this change. I think this is reaching really hard to make somebody's favorite model really strong. This feels like a fanboy in the dev room. But maybe I'm wrong.
His sister?
Maybe he's bad.
No. I don't think you're wrong at all, Brandon. I think it is a very strong change. I don't know if Colossus needed this change when there's so many other characters that could have done with the touch-up coming in these boxes.
Colossus was getting played in the meta
right now.
Yeah,
he was in the top.
Did he get this? There's no. This is just people answering forum cries. This is 100% what that was.
I would have been okay with either of the attacks maybe getting a harder, like especially when they started adding harder triggers for pushes and throws and stuff. Now, why does he just get a wild? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why is it omnidirectional?
Yeah, because it's the best version of that rule.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just pushing the model until it gets like super dominant.
Yeah, and then in 2 years they'll be like, well, I guess when we
tune
him up, we need to tune him down again.
They also exactly he's gonna get changed 4 times. Like it's crazy. And then also he conveniently has immune to bleed, which sounds dumb, but this is the most important time ever to have immune to bleed. There's so many abilities they just released that are key on the immunity to bleed ability. Like if you just shut down like 3 whole mechanics that you just released for the last year, and then push this model into the meta.
Yeah, like
go ahead.
Like Dracula. You will like this is like the perfect counter to Dracula.
He completely shuts down Dracula entirely.
Oh, Dracula can't counterattack him. Pushed out of the way. No bleed.
Yeah. I'll just take your counterattack. Yeah. You don't do anything because you're not going to damage me because I'm fucking incredibly strong.
Mm-hmm. Hot take. Right. Beat Ray Bill will still be taken 5 times more than this model. That's just. I don't think you can push a medium base, medium move bruiser farther than Beta Ray Bill, and I still think he's behind him.
I thought initially that was a good point. I actually don't know that you're right. I think Colossus might be better than Bill now.
I don't think he
is.
Like
even in a vacuum.
And you know why he's not, or why he won't be, is that you have to rely upon wilds to do what Bill can do. And Bill does
every other turn. Now you might be able to push 4 times as often as Bill does,
but you don't need to push 4 times. You need to push usually you need to push 1 model.
Yeah, and but Bill also can't bodyguard and move on to points out of activation unless somebody attacks him. Like the fact that I just put him in the middle. You can't move him. You can move Bill. You can't move this guy. You can't webline him off a point. It's not possible.
What I'm saying is, I do not think, because this is the reason why we're excited for this guy to have some control is because he'll become a really great control model that sticks in and doesn't die. Or like, well, that's Beta Ray Bill, right? Beta Ray Bill is better than that because he doesn't require any interactability. Beta Ray Bill plays solitaire, right? You don't actually have to do anything to him. He'll just do everything he wants to do by himself. He is the perfect version of what this guy just got closer to. And I think this guy just got closer to Beta Ray Bill. I don't think he got anywhere near him. I think he's not in the ballpark.
I think it's a different conversation, though, because you can't just take Bill and move him to the center point and expect him to win. That's not something Bill's going to do, because it's just too easy. He's size 2. You just throw him off the point, or you push him off the point. You do any number of other things. You put Colossus on the center point, now my entire round is devoted just to trying to get him off the point. And every round, he's going to double attack and push people off the point.
If you wanted to stick somebody in the center, yes, sure. But that's not...
Right, so they're different, right?
Yeah.
They have different jobs.
Right.
I think Colossus is better in a lot of situations, and Bill's obviously better in other situations.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if you were to just take them at their own merits, I think Colossus might be a better model than Bill for 4 points as a tank. And the fact that we're even talking about that is silly. Like, Bill was designed to be the best tank ever.
I don't know. I think that there are models that are better at their jobs. They're like best models at their jobs. There needs to be, right? Like you can't have because that's what this game is, right? This game is not Judgment, right? Where Judgment is everybody is great. This one, some people are great and some are not. Some are a Viper and some are Black Cat, right? They're clearly different with the same point cost. So I think that I think we just described why Colossus is fine, right? Bill is going to be better at bruising in some situations. Colossus is going to be better at bruising in other situations, but they're both really good at it.
Specifically at dealing damage, Bill would be better. I think in almost every other example, Colossus is better. except for we're on a flank and no one is helping the two of us.
Mhm.
Bill is slightly more consistent at winning a single point versus exactly one other person.
Which is what he gets called upon a lot to do, right? Is to lock
Right,
that
but the
down.
problem is Bill can only do it every other turn. Colossus could do it every turn. And because of that, he has a little bit more RNG behind it, but he could do it every single turn.
Yes.
And
because
there's
he
a
has-
lot of models that can never beat him at a point. Where there are models that could just like you just send Gwen at Bill, she pulls him off the point and stands there. She wins it. There's nothing he
Mhm.
can do about it.
Right.
It's like that doesn't happen to Colossus. That's my only point. Is that he completely invalidates half of the board control in the game. And because he's size 3, he cuts out a lot of other throws.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you that he's not good. We started with this. He is much, much better now. I guess I just don't have any. I don't see he's the fly in the pudding. I don't get why that's bad. I think there should be models that are good, but
I think models that are good that are fine. I think he is beyond the apex of what a tank should be, is all I'm saying. And I think Bill's too strong too. Bill was too strong when he came out. He's still too strong.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the next one though.
Okay. The next one is Magic. She got a bit of a glow up. And I say a bit, just a little bit. Extra health. She can hex now. And she's immune to Incinerate. Just a little bit.
Yeah, just some little touches.
The immune incinerate was important. I think that was widely missed on her first card. The fact that Clea was immune to incinerate and Magic wasn't was
Crazy.
dumb.
Yeah, just kind of silly.
Yeah. And
She's
then,
the queen of fucking limbo.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Where are you from? Literally the hell dimension. And
Yeah.
where are you from? Outer space. So I'm immune to incinerate. You're like, what?
They actually did change the name of that ability. She's not the Sorceress Supreme of Limbo anymore.
Yeah.
Scrying Mirrors of Limbo. But yeah, this is a great change. It's just a little bit of salt on top of a model that was already pretty unique, but just a little behind the curve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like it.
It will not make New Mutants better, though, sadly.
Mhm. No, it won't, because nothing can.
Not her, by herself.
I want to talk.
I don't
I
think
think.
if she was free, it would matter.
I think this
Actually-
is a topic. I really want.
Huh.
This is a different topic we're not doing today. I really want to know why New Mutants is bad, but I
Because
know
they're
I
exactly
haven't.
like Convocation. That's why.
No, stop. I don't want to talk about it today, but I want
know.
you to put a pin in this.
Next
Zach,
week.
I'm
I
ready
want
for
you
the
to
next
tell
one.
me. I don't give a shit what CJ and Brandon have to say. I want to know
Next
what
week.
Zach.
Wait,
Yeah.
CJ, haven't you played more New Mutants than Zach?
Oh, I've played a shit ton of New Mutants. That's why I know they're bad.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
I thought
I
thought it
was
just
really
Zach who-
excited
No.
about them. And
Zach's
then
just the
No,
one
no,
who played
no.
him into me.
He was excited about it. Then he watched
then I played
CJ
him and I
just
was like, oh,
turn
yeah.
the pot, and he's like, nah. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, CJ. You just never played him against me. That's why.
Well, I knew
Yeah.
better.
Well, that's
I
'cause
would,
you
I
never
would
show up for
splash.
game,
I would run X Force without any tactic cards before I'd run New Mutants into you.
So,
Next.
Nightcrawler got updated timing on stuff. I don't think. it matters, just
You
the
did get
timing.
one
it
very
doesn't matter.
relevant change.
Yes.
Oh, what is
What
it?
is
He
it?
does not auto stun on his builder anymore.
And it is after. I think it used to be. Or no, it was always after. But he has to deal damage.
Wait, if the
It
attack
was always
deals
after.
damage is not within 2 games.
It used to just be after damage is dealt.
And then you would, Puff of Smoke would trigger after?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So what's the difference in timing then?
No, that's not. There's no difference there. It's the difference is.
There's no difference in
It's-
timing.
he
It's just
doesn't
stun is
see-
conditional
yeah.
to damage.
That's exactly what it is.
Clearly they listened to us. Nightcrawler's over the curve. They nerfed him.
Good job, us.
Totally fucking matters now.
Congratulations.
One more thing
Yeah.
he got. I think Invisible
another
and
thing?
Shadow, his stealth thing used to not be stealth.
Give
It
stealth.
now says actually
Boom.
give stealth because
Yeah.
that matters.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for listening, people at AMG.
Yeah.
yeah.
wow.
I'll give them props where it's due. That was a
Yes.
miss
But
that
I-
they had
but
hard.
Well, it's because
I-
they made
they
it a
just need to get
superpower now,
Storm
right?
now.
So they can actually define it as
I
he
don't
gets
know
the
what
superpower.
stealth does. It doesn't explain it to me.
It's an 8 now. It doesn't matter.
I
They
don't
don't
know
do
what
it anymore.
stealth
It's an
does.
8 now, remember?
It's in the rulebook.
Well, that's what that was okay.
Cool. I like that. So just objective nerfs to him and make him slightly less consistent. I don't know that either of them will matter, but because they're both
kinda-
pretty
they're like
outside,
quality
right?
of life
What
stuff.
are the odds I cared that you gained stun, and what are the odds that you ignored stealth? Those are the only two things.
Yeah. If
All right, next up.
oh, he can get hit by the Sentinel card now.
Finally.
Yeah, that one that is deleted stealth now it deletes his stealth.
Ancient Venom. He now shakes instead of what he did before, which is not shake, but shake.
That's the same thing. They changed the wording to be like blades.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Everybody should be more like the Dom here.
Yeah. It's not a nerf. It's not nothing. It's just wording updates.
Yep. It's literally just wording. Yeah. Gambit. That's right. We didn't talk about really him at all, even though we knew what he was doing. We never talked about him because that would be cheating. So Gambit is now the thing that we knew he was at Adepticon. I don't know if anybody's surprised about any of these things now, but
I believe it's
I will
all
just
on the people have known. Hopefully,
yeah. I will just say that I don't know because I don't think we got to talk about this at all because we politely refused to after Adepticon. I will just say that I'm really excited to go for the Wilds Count as 2 X-Men list because now I'll have 3 different X-Men in which Wilds Count as 2 with Archangel, Gambit, and Wolverine 1. So I'm really excited to do Wilds Count as 2 X-Men. But that's the only thing I'll say. It will be fun to do Wilds Count as 2 with X-Men. Zach, you cheated a bunch and played with him already. What did does he work or is he poo-poo?
I think he's very fun. I think he can be very inconsistent, and he's needs a leadership that helps a little bit, whether that's Steve 3 or MODOK or M'Baku. Something just to help him just tweak the dice a little bit, maybe even Shadowlands. So he's been very fun. It's why it's crazy to throw a 4 dice attack and without crits have 7 successes. So he can just do some absurd things that it's been very fun to do. I haven't really used the spender much. I've just been kinetic acing everyone I could and getting the parting shot, and I can't remember what his is called, but where you can advance towards them or advance any direction is really nice. So he I don't know that he'll always
enhance agility.
Thank you. I don't think he'll always be as consistent, but he's been very fun, and I definitely think there's leaderships that can help him become a lot more consistent, and that will be good.
I'm just excited for more Wilds Count as 2 as an option in this game. I think
he's really annoying to throw stuff at.
I like
Josh threw a size 4 at him, and he rolled 2 wilds, and it was like, oh, okay, he took 1, and it's just like he's. I feel like he's very annoying probably to play against, just because it's so random. Of like, oh, I rolled 3 wilds, you're dead now. Sorry.
He's a slot machine now.
Yeah.
He comes up with triple sevens every once in a while.
His name is fucking Gambit. The point is you're
good.
You're gambling.
I think it's
like that's the idea.
As a 3, I think that space kind of works perfectly for him.
Yep.
Because like there's still like having his wilds like changed, it would hurt him a lot. This guy would hate to see MODOK 1.
He's to 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's a fun change. It gives him kind of a weird space to exist in, and I think a lot of people can exploit that. And he's just gonna be fun to play now.
Yeah. I think this is a very themey. Of all of the changes, even though we knew about this one early, of all the changes, I think I like this one the most because it did 2 things. It made him more relevant with a variety of builds, and it made him more like his character from the comics. Whereas before, he was not a slot machine. He was just a big gun you had to load once per game. You got to do a big beam, and that was all you did, and he died. So
it's kind of lame just saving up power for 4 turns.
Right. So it's really cool to see him be more like what he is in the books and just more relevant. Good job, home run. I like it a lot. Toad, that asshole. He is now not a 5/3. Now he's a 4/4, and
good change.
Which is a great change. Yes, huge, great change. And Tongue Lash now gives poison instead of push, which is hugely relevant.
Yeah.
What's that?
Another good change. These were both things that should have been done a really long time ago. I think he's fine now. The number of times he lived on 1 when he had no right doing so that changed games because
he's gone.
The typical. You guys didn't have to fucking play through it. I want to hear it. Do you know what missions used to look like when this model came out?
Mystic.
No, solo, where it was like single extracts worth 3.
It was everyone was running the triplicate look to finds, which it was a C, 3 centerline reds, and you would interact with them and roll dice. You roll 2 dice. If you got a crit and you found the real one, you remove the other 2. That one's worth 2. No other extracts. And so every game, you just fucking play 3-card money. Toad would walk to the middle and just Yahtzee a fucking crit. And now it was kill Toad or lose the game because he's going to run backwards. And then either Doctor Strange or Magneto or Thanos was going to body block for him for the rest of the game. And you were never going to fight through it in time. Because you weren't scoring any reds. They had all the reds on their side. And then they would just sit on one of the blues and win the game. And so the fact that you'd shoot like a fucking full rerolls 8 dice attack at him, and you're like, ideal 4? And he's like, cool, slippery. He's like, cool, I lose the game. Like, it was so fucking annoying.
Yeah. Giving him the ability to be one-shotted from the very beginning is huge. Also, taking off his ability to be like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and go +1 more on points by moving here and pushing him. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh.
Yeah, he was already he's one of the best extract runners of the game. He didn't also need to be able to do a secure on top of that every once in a while.
Agreed. Yeah. No, yeah, good changes. I think that puts him in a much safer place. He's still going to see a lot of play, but it's just he's not quite pushed as hard. All right, next.
And finally, Carnage. He got, I think, a heck of a glow up. I don't think he's pushed too far, but man, oh man, I think they want you to be able to play Carnage and feel good about it.
So the first thing is Paint the Town Red has the frenzy timing, and the second thing is 1 extra hit point.
No,
and Paint the Town Red now adds dice.
Oh,
so you get 7 on the follow-up.
2 dice. Oh, yes, that is very relevant.
Yes,
it was already arguably the best superpower in the game.
Uh-huh.
Now you have more health.
So it's heal to full, advance short, extra attack, 2 extra dice.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
It's pretty fucking crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to put him on the table again. I've kind of been waiting to do it.
Put him on the table tomorrow. Sure.
Are we all bringing Carnage
for anyone
tomorrow?
who's never... not
Carnage
tomorrow.
Day.
He is at the store, but I'm not playing him.
Carnage Day.
I
Is
don't know if
everybody
anybody-
playing Carnage tomorrow? Is that the rule?
It's Carnage, National Carnage
I don't know
Day.
if anybody... I don't know if anybody's ever not played with Carnage listening to this. The fact that he's 1 Mystic and 1 Energy Defense doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
So many people put so much weight into defensive stats, and they matter. Like they're like if he was 1/1/1,
don't matter.
If he was 1/1/1, that would matter. But the fact that he's 5 physical specifically means that you can't just freely throw stuff into him, which is totally different than like Enchantress. It's a totally different situation. When he's average dodging 3 or 2 instead of 0, it's a big difference. So that means you have to attack him to kill him. And so then you're trying to punch, even if you're shooting into 1 energy defense, it's like, did you roll 8 damage in 2 attacks? Odds say probably not. And even if you did, I probably might block 1 actually, especially if I can get him into cover. You can't incinerate him down below 1, which a lot of people don't know. Minimum defense dice is 1, by the way. So you're like, oh, you incinerate me. Fuck off. I don't care. I lost 1 die, not 3. And then if you come up short, he kills you, heals to full, and kills 2 other people. And you're like, oh no. And then he just starts the whole train over again.
It also...
this guy...
It didn't...
This guy can be terrifying.
It didn't get changed to non-grunts either, so he still gets to just tee off on grunts.
Yeah, all the furbies
100%.
do.
And more people are running like 2s and 3s spanless than like in a long time. So there's a lot of like, I'll just shoot somebody. It's like, hey, who took the most damage? Move attack. Killed him. Move attack again.
Also, let's us not forget, he is still the best character in the game to play a card that got rotated out because it was too broken, and he can still do it. It's now called custom upgrades. But this motherfucker...
Shit, he is a spider foe! Oh my god!
He's a fucking spider foe. I am playing this shit with custom upgrade. My favorite combo in the game was Carnage plus... I can't remember. Obsession, right?
Yeah, Blind Obsession.
His Blind Obsession.
No, Blind Obsession.
Parker.
My favorite combo of the game was Carnage and Blind Obsession because you only lost 2 defense dice against other characters.
What if you didn't lose
so
that
his
dice?
5 went down to 3.
So he becomes a 3/1/1 instead of a 5/1/1 because you still can't lose the other 2 dice.
Right. But he's a 7/3/3 against your target. So go fuck yourself.
And he can spend 2 power to become a 9.
Yeah.
The fact that I think again a lot of people forget. He can just do an AoE 2 9 dice attack for 7 power,
Yes.
which is not impossible to get when you're swinging his dice pools around.
Mhm. Yeah, he is an absolute monster. Now, I mean, I was excited to play it, but when they released the Spider Foes box, everybody kind of glommed onto it, so I decided I was going to wait till it died down.
Mm.
But I think everybody's playing Spider Foes tomorrow, I guess. So I guess I'll
I
probably duck
wasn't
out.
until
But I
you
am.
mentioned
No
that.
one's
I completely
gonna play Spider Foes.
custom upgrades was so far outside of my like ideas. I was like, oh, Carnage got changed, cool.
Oh,
I completely
Custom
forgot about
Upgrades is
custom
one of the best
upgrades.
cards.
Oh,
Custom Upgrades is one of the best cards in the game, but with Carnage, it's dumb.
nutty.
It's good. It's not even the top, one of the top 2 cards ever to be played on him. But
Oh, it's
No,
not Doom Prophecy.
His own card is fucking Paint the Town Red is fucking amazing. Oh, not Paint the Town Red. What was his
you
card?
mean
There will be
Carnage
Carnage.
rules.
Carnage
Carnage
rules.
rules.
Yeah, Carnage rules.
It is face me, but I face you.
Yeah.
And so you walk over here, then I hit
What
you,
if he?
Yeah.
which is dumb.
What if he made 4 attacks a turn?
No,
Yeah.
it's very possible.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Also, Carnage Rules works on anyone's turn, I believe, not just
Yes.
his. So you could
Oh.
double dip Oscorp leadership.
no, it is,
With
it is
him?
during his
Feel like-
activation.
Oh, damn. I thought it was
Yeah.
used to be different.
The other one
Anyway.
works off of it, but
Yeah.
it's only the root.
The 3 most broken cards on him that are all illegal now is one was field dressing, because you would field dress
Yeah.
him, remove daze, and heal one. Then he would kill somebody, heal the full move and attack. And you just like, oh my god. And so he would just go from daze to full health and killing 2 people. Then you would play Doom Prophecy, obviously, was the next most broken, which was add his 5 physical to all of his attacks, which became really dumb when you're doing like 14 die AoE
Healing.
2s. Yeah, fine. And then the final one was All You've Got,
Oh.
which you just activated twice.
Beautiful. This is a very different game a long time ago, huh?
It was crazy.
Josh's joke was they were just going to keep adding health till Carnage until people played him. They're like, in 6 more months, he's going to get 9 on the front. They're just going to keep tacking on 1 more until people play it.
So the Paint the Town Red change is pretty big, and that's the reason. That's the thing I like about it is they made the reason you play him more the reason, right? Paint the Town Red was always why he saw the table.
Yeah.
And they just made it better, and so it's like so much more tempting to do it. And that 1 extra hit point, again, people say it doesn't matter, but like that's part of the reason many models have left the meta is like they lost 1 hit point, and it was just not enough.
Well, we just talked about it with Toad. That change
Yeah.
on the front was a big. It's going to be a big change because it's the same thing with him. Like, there's going to be so many times where he's like alive on 1. I didn't kill him.
Mhm.
Shit.
Right. So, but for him, it will more change the outcome of like he dies more often. But I don't think it'll change the number of times he gets played because he is a unique
Yeah.
model. He's the only one that does that. Just like Carnage is the only one that does what Carnage does. And so it's like there's no other model to reach for. There's no race. He is the one. And so it's just can he do enough to make the lists? And I think unlike Toad, the answer is probably not. But it's going to be a lot closer now.
Yeah.
Okay, overall impressions. They were a little friendly on the mutants, I will say, except for Bishop. Bishop was pretty minor. And I think the Wizards, they just were too afraid to let them be good.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so fucking scared of Convocation ruling the world. They are
They hate
terrified
me
of it.
specifically.
I don't know. I mean, at this point, maybe like
I'm
I don't
open to
like,
other suggestions, but so far that's the only
I mean,
logical thing I have to go with.
I hate that kind of shit. Like you're not the main character, but I hate.
I
this
don't
comment
wanna be.
Please let them.
But
Don't hate them because of me.
but I just don't. At this point, I keep going. Like, why is Convocation the constant target? Clearly, Defenders aren't because they gave Strange a great quality of life stuff. He's not. So why are they so terrified of making Convocation over the top? They're just terrified of it. They're so scared of it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like, if they had done the Colossus job on any of the Wizards, people would have lost their goddamn minds.
Mhm.
But instead, it's just like another day at the office. Colossus got buffed again. Like, who cares?
I'm rubbing my magic wand. I don't think we're gonna see him anymore. He's still gonna be just in 2 affiliations.
Colossus?
That's it.
Oh.
The Colossus specifically, yeah.
Definitely not going to get played in other places at all.
I
Especially like Steve 1 for double infinite bodyguards that can't die. Oh, wait.
again, doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound really, really good? I don't think anyone will give a fuck. I'm just making.
We literally
just wanna
just
clarify
described
which
the list
two.
that won Worlds.
Which two are
double
you talking
bodyguards
about?
that don't die.
Apocalypse and X-Men?
Those are the two. Yeah, I think you'll see him there, but we already saw him there, so sure.
I think you're going to see him in Avengers.
I think you're going to see him in Brotherhood.
I think you're going to see just Mike put Colossus in his list and take out She-Hulk and give that a run at least. Because you do the exact same thing. You take 3 bodyguards then and just take Voodoo and Black Cat, and you're super affiliated and you just don't care. You just take all the extracts.
I am not disagreeing with you.
I know. That's my favorite part.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I think all of these things are correct. I think Colossus is fucking dumb now, and the fact that they just keep putting more icing on the cake until it's just icing and no cake is fucking weird. And I still I think it's funny. People are still not going to play him, and I think that's fucking weird. But that's just my personal prediction.
I'm just looking at this. So X-23 is a horseman. Obviously Gambit, Colossus, and Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
X-23
it? Just
is
the
not
4?
Toad.
X-23
He's
is
not a horse. It's right. It's Honey Badger, not X-23.
Toad is
Yeah.
one.
Toad is one. Okay,
Yeah,
so they
buffed a
4
bunch
of
of horsemen.
They did buff the 4 horsemen, correct?
Well, Toad's not a buff, right? That's
No,
definitely
Toad was a
rebalancing.
That's true. Toad got nerfed.
Yeah.
So, but Gambit, Magic, and Colossus got pretty solid buffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Colossus was the big winner of this one. I think the most interesting one to try will be New Strange. I think the most fun one to try will be Carnage. I think that'll be the.
Not Gambit?
I'm
I'm not at all interested in playing Gambit. I'm the
that's-
only one.
That's really close. You know I love Gambit.
You can play Gambit, I'll play Carnage.
Parker,
No,
just take
and
And I'll
take
kill
one
your Gambit.
just take one drive at reserve member Gambit and Steve 3, and it'll change.
Well,
your
make
life.
sure you read
Just-
how that card works first.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
I
read
don't
reserve member.
want-
Can't read.
But
Yeah, but I will be taking no other leaders, even though I know what the fuck it does now. I don't think I'll do it to Steve 3. I'm not kidding when I say when I get my Archangel, I'm going to run the Wild Countess 2 X-Men. I think that'll be a ton of fun. And it will be worse than Steve. I don't care because I just want to try it with X-Men. But I do think, and for that reason, I think I want to try Carnage more. Also, I have played Spider Foes. Since I got Rhino, Sandman, and the new Doc Ock, I've never played Spider Foes with all 3 of those models. I should try it eventually. I think Carnage with new Doc Ock actually has some legs because he needs power to do his thing, and it'd be cool to have just 1 or 2 more power to go off. I think it'd be cool. We'll try it.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
and Zach.
And Zach. And CJ.
And you've just listened to A Strange Turn of Events.
So what are we gonna call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just gonna put down infamous.